Hey, Vinyl Community, Jason. It is Friday evening. Welcome back. My third video in a week, 2 weeks, something like that, a week and a half. I think it's a record for me, but I've been watching a lot of videos lately, so I'm kind of at a video I've been wanting to do for a long time. So yeah, I thought it was a good time to do it. Yeah, I've been when I first started when I started collecting records, I mean, I've always been to Brazilian records. Obviously, I show a ton of Brazilian records. I'd say, I just did a video a few videos ago, like Essential Brazilian Records. I just did a kind of a grail video on a Brazilian record. I always show a ton of Brazilian records. I always buy Brazilian records. It's always been interested to me. When I first started watching videos, I remember looking. Probably talked about this when I did the Brazilian one, but I just, I searched for Brazilian records. There wasn't really much. There was one video of this guy, I think it was called the Vinyl Viking or Eric the Viking or something. So he had Brazilian records and he had pretty sweet records, but I remember he ended up just selling his collection or something. I remember James Buttery bought one and he said that they were the worst condition. He bought one and it was just trashed. So that was kind of that was it. But I did do a search a few days ago and I found there's a lot of people posting stuff with Brazilian records. I watched one the other day, awesome, all this Brazilian jazz. I forget the name of the channel, but it was really cool. I knew most of the stuff, but there was a couple new ones I never heard, so I'm really stoked to see that. For me, super exciting. I mean, I like all kinds of music, but I don't know. I just love Brazilian music. It's my passion. It's interesting. It's different. But one thing I do feel I don't see enough of it. I feel something that I am unique is I like newer Brazilian music. There's definitely a ton of awesome classic stuff. All that stuff's great. But they are expensive, and I feel there's a lot of good new music coming out in Brazil. So if you can get them now before they become expensive and classic, and it's even better. So yeah, kind of wanted to jump into that, and I was just looking through my collection, and I first started collecting newer Brazilian records. It's kind of this band and this Metameta and this label Goma Gringa, and I got really attached to it. I really liked it. I thought it was interesting. I love it. So I would say it's classic. So this is kind of my Brazilian contemporary. I was gonna do a top 10. I did a top 10 Brazilian classics, but I feel I wanted to concentrate on this. It's sort of a new contemporary Brazilian. I don't know what you call it. It's called Samba. Samba sujo means dirty samba. I don't know if you call it a genre, but it's just kind of a sound that's coming out of Sao Paulo for the last 10-15 years. And when I counted my newer Brazilian records, about 60, and I would say about a third or this Samba sujo kind of related. So I thought it'd be, and this is something that this is probably my favorite part about the Brazilian contemporary stuff. I like other stuff too. There's a lot of cool releases, but for me, this is the shit. I don't know. So drinking some Dow. So kind of want to jump into that. And I got my turntable right here. I don't have to get up all the time. I don't have it in the video, but I like how Paul XL Junkie just kind of does samples. So I'm gonna try to do more. I usually just play a whole record, which I love. That's great. But I'm gonna try to throw some samples on. I don't know what I'm gonna sample. I did a little bit of research, but not as much as I did in Nelson Joycey. So bear with me. I'm just kind of gonna wing it a little bit. I do have a little bit of facts, but so I kind of, for me, the godfather of Samba Sujo is Kiko Danucci. He is he's a guitar player, and I kind of compare him to Omar Rodriguez Lopez from Mars Volta. He's very technical guitar player, obviously very samba based, but also in kind of the post-punk kind of we say vibe, but kind of that kind of style too, all mixed up. So this is so this is what we're listening to. This is his first album that I looked, and I saw the first one he did called Paji with Josara Masao is the lead singer and Kiko Danucci on guitar. And this is a pretty chill record. This is like I would say this is him and like pretty tame, but you can hear it's cool. It's very like Afrocentric, like Bahian percussion, all this stuff. Everything here is like very, very heavily rooted in samba, but it has like a little bit edge around it. And so this is the first one that I saw that he was credited, at least by Wikipedia, which is probably the worst research. I probably should have looked on Discogs a little more, but yeah, this is the first thing I saw him in, just out of my soul. Kiko Danucci. This is on Goma Gringa. I'll pull the record out when I'm done spinning it, but really, really good. Yeah, like from Bahia is very religious, but not like Christian religious, like very like African, I won't say voodoo, but there's a word called macumba that my wife's like super scared of. She's Brazilian, and macumba's like voodoo. I think, I don't know if it like technically translates to voodoo, but it's like, you know, they light candles and I don't know, kill, I want to say like, I'm just giving an example, I don't know, but like kill chickens and throw it in a circle and, you know, put stars around it, stuff like that. So it's kind of like that, like Afro folk, sort of. A lot of their stuff is like based on like Afro folk, samba kind of stuff. And a lot of these songs that we're listening to will go on to be, I'd say this is a prequel to Metameta, which I'll talk about, which is my favorite band. But I think this is 2007. They did Paji. So that's Kiko Danucci. I think he's the godfather of. So this is all sort of relating around Kiko Danucci. I think he's like the nucleus. There's a couple bands. There's two really big bands, and I think he's the guitar player for both. So that's why I say he's like the nucleus. But there's also each band has like these really distinct players that kind of go off and do their own things. So, but I feel like he is like the start of Samba Sujo. Dirty Samba. And Dirty Samba, there was a movement in Brazil like late 70s, early 80s, which I don't think is very popular. Has like Itamar Samsung, which is like kind of like new wave reggae. They're kind of the same, like, you know, Bahian Afrobeat and there's an album called Clara Crocodilo. Something Barnaby, Arujo Barnaby. I don't know. I should have done more research, but there was a movement back in like the late 70s, which is sort of similar to this, kind of like fusion-esque. But yeah, this for me, this is like the top contemporary Brazilian. And then I think this one's from 2008. This is Kiko Danucci, Ibando Afro Macaronico. So this is his first, I guess, solo album. Even though I think Josara Masao is on a lot of these songs. Yeah, this is a really good album. Samba. I think here he starts to get a little more edgy. This one we're listening to is more folk, Afro folk, kind of like percussion Bahian. This one gets a little bit more into like the punk, post-punk, but it's still very samba, but it has a little bit more avant-garde aspect to it. This is named Pastiche Lago. This is a really good album. This is one of the first contemporary Brazilian records I bought. The one we listened to came out pretty late. I think it got a late vinyl release. I think came out 2007, but didn't get a vinyl release till like 2016 or something. So I'm gonna throw a song on from here. There's a song I love called Mosquito or something or other. I can't remember. But yeah, this is on this one. This is Paji. This is on Goma Gringa, my favorite like contemporary Brazilian label. So super good. Yeah, this is fantastic. I think this is sold out now. Pretty sure. A lot of these didn't sell out right away for sure. Most of these did not. I don't know if any sold out right away. Don't know. I think it's the B-side. There's a song I really like on here, which is probably not a good example of Samba Sujo, but it's probably my favorite track on here. Mosquito di Valoria. And these were all written by Kiko Danucci. And a lot of these are written by Douglas Germano. And I should say, kind of the unsung hero, Marcelo Cabral. He plays bass on like pretty much every record here, but I don't really see him talk about too much. Track 2. Yeah, I just love this track, so good. Kiko Danucci, Afro e Bando, Afro Macaronico. Yeah, Marcelo Cabral. I think Marcelo Cabral is a beast. Like, bass player. He's on almost all of these records. I don't really see him credited a lot. But he, like, even some of the... When the Metameta, you got Tabo França does, like, some jazz stuff. He's even plays bass on some of the jazz records. He's just phenomenal. As well as Sergio Machado plays drums on a lot of it. I don't think he plays on this one, but... So I'll just continue with Kiko Danucci. He had another solo release, I think in 2017. I didn't pick it up. I don't know why, but it was a little bit more punk, I guess. Harder. I've been listening to it a lot. I wouldn't say a lot. I've listened to it a few times recently, and the first like half is like phenomenal. Like, why didn't I pick this up? But the second half is a little bit, I don't know, lackluster, I guess. It did get a little pricey. I think it is self-released, so it is not a big release, and I think it's a little pricey now. I want to pick it up for sure. I'm bummed I didn't. There are a lot of contemporary records I missed. Some of them I end up picking up later for like double, 3 times the price of what I could have picked them up for 5 years ago. But it is what it is. That's the life. This is Kiko Danucci. This one came out 2020. This is Rastillo. And this is the original press on Trelos, which is a record club in Brazil. And this thing is just a phenomenal masterpiece. This is like more of an acoustic album, but it has like a post-punk feel, but he's like totally jamming, riffing it on the guitar, but it's like acoustic. It's interesting that he didn't, because he has and this came out 2020, so this is probably the latest of all the stuff I'm going to show. And he has all these relationships with all these great musicians that I'm going to show, but he still just decides to go it alone. As Beck would say, go it alone. Yeah, this thing is just so fantastic. And this is like a throwback to, this gives me feelings of Baden Powell, Vinicius, right? I don't know, but Los Afro Sambos, which is like one of the best Brazilian records of all time. And this gives me that kind of vibe. That album had a Quarteto MCY, which is like this phenomenal, I think it was like 3 or 4 girls that had like just amazing harmonies. So it kind of has that vibe. It has some of that like female vocal stuff going on, and it has like the acoustic. It's just things just killer. I mean, if you can pick this up, I think it was repressed by Maisum Discos in 2021. Maybe they pressed it in Europe somewhere, UK. I probably could find it for cheap. Highly recommend that. So in 2011, let me throw a song off that. That was. Let me throw a track off that Kiko Danucci Rastillo. I mean, it's so good. I don't know how long this is gonna be. If I'm throwing tracks up every album, this is gonna be a long video, but it is what it is. I mean, I see some of the guys I watch. I mean, I can't. It's hard to watch an hour-long video for sure, but I've been watching longer videos. I've been watching a lot of videos lately. Probably why it's why I want to make more videos. I've been more involved. I got this like new routine down where I have, because I wash all the dishes, so I'll throw on a video and just stick it up against the window while I wash dishes. So that's kind of nice. Before I used to try to watch videos, but I'd watch them as I'm like falling asleep in bed, and I would like get through like 10 minutes and pass out. Not that everyone's videos are boring, but yeah, you know how it is. And I don't even know what track I throw on here. Shit. I don't know. This whole thing's just killer. There's a couple good ones. I'm just gonna guess here. There's a couple phenomenal songs on here, but I think it's like 4th or 5th track on here. It's just so killer. I mean, the whole thing is just amazing. But just to give you a taste, this album is just. This is like a must-have contemporary Brazilian record. Is this the one? This is the 4th track, which is, I don't even know. Vida Menina. I don't think it's the one. Yeah, this song's great. It's just like acoustic, but it's like super riffy. And that's, for me, I play acoustic guitar. I don't play that much, not as much as I used to, but yeah. But yeah, like I love kind of that riffy acoustic, because then I don't say I can play it. I'm not gonna learn the song, but it's for me, someone who can just play an acoustic and just hold it down. Oh, this is gonna be a long video, 60 minutes for sure. Well, it is what it is. You want to watch it, you can watch it. If you don't, you can tell. So in 2011, he started 2 groups, which is why I kind of call him the Seed, because I feel like these are probably the most 2 important groups of contemporary Brazilian music and samba sujo. And the first one was Paso Torto. I show this one first because I only have this one. I don't know, this one is really good. This is the first one in 2011. And this is an album he did, and it's kind of a super group. I think Marcelo Cabral's on here too, who plays bass, who I said is like, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I looked it up. So he's the bass player, he's on everything. Kiko Danucci guitar. This has 3, I don't want to say it's like the Beatle-esque, but it has Kiko Danucci, Rodrigo Campos, and Romulo Flores, who are like all, I would call them superstars, because they're all like underground, but extremely great songwriters. Paso Porto, I don't even know, I think it's just called, it might be self-titled. I even has the sticker, 70 reais, which is probably now about $15. Bought this a long time ago, but it was repressed. It didn't come out until 16, 17, something like that. But yeah, this is monumental album. They did 2 more, and they're like a little bit more avant-garde. I should probably re-listen, because when I first listened back 4 or 5 years ago, this is like the only one that I could palette. But now that I definitely like more free jazz and stuff, so I should probably recheck the other 2 out. I'll probably dig them. But yeah, it's a little bit more. It's a challenge. This one is pretty chill. This is a more samba-based album, and it's interesting because Rodrigo Campos, I think that's him. He's a little bit more traditional samba guy, and then Romulo Flores, who I'm guessing is whatever silhouettes. He's a little bit more samba, but he kind of throws some weird, like avant-garde, like, I don't want to call it like oboe, but he just has like this kind of crazy, like jazzy sounds. And then Kiko Danucci, I think, brings the weirdness. So yeah, this song is amazing. Yeah, so definitely Paso Tortis. And then for me, the group of Brazil that is Metameta. This is also this is 2011. This is their first release. I think it's just self-titled, Metameta. This is on Goma Gringa, same sort of label. And this is, I feel like this is like a prototype. This was kind of like this is 2008, this is 2011, but this is sort of like the prototype for this. This one is pretty Of their albums, it's probably a little bit more chill. It is Samba, Sujo. It has a little bit of bite to it, but it's pretty more like acoustic, chill, Samba. I don't call it chill. But they have, on here you have Kiko Danucci, and you have Josetta Massal from Paggi, the first album I showed. And, but then you also add Tiago França, who is a sax player, and he is a little bit edgy of a sax player, like a new kind of way, like a free jazz kind of sax player, I would say. So you add him, and it just adds this pretty crazy element. Yeah, so really, really, really good. Metameta. That's their first album, and this is their second album, which I actually have 2 copies. This is the original. It was this white. I don't know where it was pressed somewhere in Europe, like Poland or some crazy. It's crazy, but this is the first press, metal. It has a bookmark, and then it had some other insert, which this thing doesn't have. But this thing is this is probably my favorite record, contemporary Brazilian record of the last one ever. So good. It is a little bit of mix between kind of like the first album, where it's a little bit more chill, but it has like some Bahian like percussion influence, but it also has like post-punk and punk and just really hard edge to it on some points. It's cool because it kind of goes like acoustic, and then it has this like really like hard like, I compare them to like the Mars Volta. If you've watched my videos, I feel like they're like the Mars Volta of Brazil, but it's kind of like art rock, you know. It's kind of like chill samba, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, and like these weird free jazz sax and flute stuff. I'm definitely gonna play some of that after this. So crazy. And this is the same album, but this is the Goma Gringa re-release. This is a cool, and the label on here is incredible. Look at this thing. Yeah, look at that. Triple Kiss on there. Whew. Nuts. I don't know. So I guess I have a double, but I love Goma Gringa, so I probably will keep this. This is one of the only records I have doubles of. It's totally worth it. I think put this in a MoFi sleeve. Jeez. The Goma Gringa is cool. They have these like, they have like a colored sleeve with like an inner plastic sleeve. But yeah, let me throw on some Metameta. So that was Kiko Danucci, really good. I think it's a masterpiece. But you know, that's just me. Like I said, I kind of wanted to do this video because I don't really see anybody talk about any of these records, anybody show any of these records. I've sent a couple of these records, some of these like contemporary records to people, and they don't tell me how they like them or not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm the only one that likes it. I have no idea. I heard these guys put on an insane show though, so I would love to see Metameta. I'm going to Brazil in June. I highly doubt they'll be playing, but I would love if they were. That'd be so good. That'd be, because they don't, I mean, they're too small to like tour here. But that would be so good. I'm going to play So George, which they actually did on the Paggi album they did. So a lot of these songs on the Metameta came from, I've heard them on their first, Kiko Danucci's and the Paggi, which is the Kiko just out of Massal, who obviously just shot of Massal as the lead singer on Metameta. So these are a little bit more refined versions where they're, you know, I guess, full band and a little bit harder. So yeah, Metameta. Metal, yeah. So this is their second album. This is their third album, Metameta 3. And this covers so crazy well. Goma Gringa. This is one of the more chill albums. I mean, chill songs. This is kind of a more, you can hear the sax and stuff, but it gets a little hard. Goma Gringa. I love the label. This is my favorite label from Brazil. This is gonna be, I mean, I feel like these records are getting expensive though. I mean, this is like maybe $100 record now. All the Metameta is like $100 record now. But I think in 10 years, these things, I mean, they only pressed like 250 of these. Like maybe, I think the first album they pressed 500. I think the second one they did a couple runs of it, so there's like a 1 and a 2, maybe 1,000 total. This one maybe, I mean, they might have been 1,000, but yeah, they do like small. 1,000 is still not a lot. So in 10 years, when people start discovering these things are going to be insane. So that's Metameta 3. This is way more punk. This is hard. I didn't really like this one at first. I don't know. I mean, there's this one, Metameta. The second one I think is a perfect mix of like more samba. It's still very like palatable samba chill, but it has like some hard edges. This one is like pretty hard. I mean, there's definitely samba, but it's just more like punk, post-punk, which I like punk, but I haven't listened to punk in a long time. Post-punk, not that I'm against it, I just don't really listen to it that much. But this one's really good. I mean, it's progressed, like I want to say, yeah, progressive, like Tool or Mars Volta, like art rock progressive. And this is another one. I showed this one not too long ago. This is Igba Metameta. This is on Tres Celos, that record club from Kiko Danucci Restilo. And this is more of like a B-side kind of comp they did a bunch of albums that weren't released. Kind of like soundtrack. They did like a soundtrack for like a ballet or something. Just a bunch of crazy stuff that didn't get released. It's kind of the same vein. It's a little bit more like the harder side, a really good art rock. So that's kind of like Kiko Danucci is 2 super groups, and I'm gonna kind of jump into some of the kind of like the side spin-offs of this. So for Metameta, you got Tiago França, who plays sax and flute. I think he's like the most brilliant, like new age jazz musician from Brazil. There's actually, I don't always discover it, but there's a few like pretty good gems coming out of Brazilian contemporary jazz. But for me, this is it. I mean, you gotta, just phenomenal. Free jazz, Afrobeat, kind of like avant-garde. And like I said, Marcelo Cabral's on all these, so he's like the hidden gem for sure. So this is, let me show his first one. I think this is his first one. This is just released, but on vinyl. And I just showed this not so long ago. This is Sambanzo, Tiago França on Tres Celos. I think this was released like 2012 or 13 on digitally, but just came out of vinyl press 2021. This is like Afrobeat, Brazilian jazz, free jazz, some like traditional samba. This thing's just cooker, so good. Yeah, I don't know. I want to like sample some songs. I don't know what is the track to play. Yeah, so this is Metameta. I'm gonna play some like harder parts of it. Just a little bit. There we go. So this is like a little bit more of the hard, like punk influence, I guess. But yeah, it's crazy cover. So good. This was the one I think he did after. So this is a little bit more of like the harder edge. Tiago França, Malagueta Perusi Basans Bacanazo. I forget what the stories behind this. It was based off some like news article or something. He wrote the album. This is kind of the same vein. This one's a little more. This one's a little interesting. It's like I love the Goma Gringa label there. It's old school. I think this was like 2013, 14. It was released on digitally and then came out a little bit later on vinyl. It is a little more traditional samba, but it still is like jazz influence. Yeah, really good. This is interesting. I like it, but it's interesting. And then this is probably my favorite Brazilian contemporary jazz album. This is Thiago França, Space Charanga, Ran, R-A-N. And I guess the cover was based on like some like UK or European jazz covers. I don't know too much about like old European jazz covers, but maybe this resembles that. This thing is phenomenal. This is like Brazilian jazz, but it's a little bit avant-garde. There's some like kind of freak out moments, but a little bit of Afrobeat. It's kind of heavily influenced by Morisco Santos as well, which he's a huge Brazilian jazz artist, kind of like groovy. It's so good. I'm gonna throw some song on here too. Shit, this is my favorite. I'm gonna throw some on from here. So this is Metameta. It's a little, just kind of, I don't call it punk, but it's like post-punk, kind of art rock, kind of harder edge. And you got like the Thiago França on the sax or whatever he's playing, and then Sergio Machado on the drums, just kind of getting after it, and then Marcelo Cabral just crushing it on the bass, and then Kiko Danucci has like this crazy Afrobeat, like that's why I kind of compare him to Omar Vegas Lopez. He plays these like crazy riffs that it's like a lead, but it's like a rhythm lead. I don't know. So good. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, this is what I started. I mean, this is what I started with. I love that label. It's so crazy. For me, I was like, what? And then from there, I'm like, I gotta listen to more of this kind of music. It's just, this record's just mind blowing, I think. But I've said it before. If you're new to my channel, then cool. But if you've seen old ones, I've probably talked about this way too much, in nauseam. So I will stop there. But yes, it's Thiago França. Ran. I'm gonna throw this on. So good. I'm gonna start with the second. I don't know. There's so many good tracks. God, I can't remember the one that I just. So good. I mean, they're all good. I should have done better about picking out tracks. There's so many albums here. It's I couldn't listen. I'm like, man, it's gonna take me like weeks to like prep for this. So I'll just throw on the second track here. Alright. So this is Thiago França Ran. Yes, it's definitely jazzier. And then this is another. This just came out. Thiago França, also Space Charanga. The importance of being espectacular on blue vinyl. This is kind of the same thing, jazz, same thing as this, but a little bit more kind of traditional samba that you would hear from like Carnival, like more like Carnival samba. It's a little wild, but it's jazzy, really good. So that is Thiago França from Metameta. Then you have another person I really like is Rodrigo Campos from Paso Torto, from this album. Rodrigo Campos. He is more, I would say, a traditional samba player. He plays cavaquinho, which is like that little guitar, almost like a ukulele. It's It's very, very common in like traditional samba. He's really good. So I'm gonna go through. I'm trying to know if I go chronologically, but he has another album. I think before this that I bought. It's been in Brazil for like a year and a half, but. This is Bahia Fantastica. This is an album that I didn't buy when I first started buying Brazilian contempt. I don't know why. I just, it was like $50. This is like 2017. I'm like, I don't want to spend $50 on a Brazilian album, a new one, and I should have because this thing sells for a lot more than that now. This is really good. Samba, but a little bit, but it's like indie samba. Really kind of groovy. Just really, he's a really good songwriter. He's got good strings, not like so much on this album. Fantastic. And then he did this album as a follow-up. I think Rodrigo Campos Converses con Tu Shira. And this is on Goma Gringa. This is a double album. This album's fantastic. This one is has a lot of like, I feel like, I don't know if it has strings, but it's very like orchestrated. Yes, this is just a fantastically written album. Is this side B? So this is side A. Side B is actually nothing. This is a dead wax. Goma Gringa right there. Converses con Tu Shira. Fantastic album. Like I said, he's a little bit, of all the artists here, he's probably a little bit more straight ahead. Singer-songwriter, samba, plays cavaquinho. I'm sure he plays guitar too. Yeah, really good. Like one of my favorites, Rodrigo Campos. Highly recommend him. And this is the one he did as well. This is probably the last one he did. This is, I think it's called like Sambas Absurdas, like absurd sambas. This is a really, the packaging is crazy. Like this thing is like thick as hell, man. This is like, I don't even call it cardboard. It is, I don't even know, man. This thing's like indestructible. It's got a, it's just crazy. And it comes with a 10-inch, which is strange. It's just, this comes in a 10-inch. Oh, yeah, this goes in there. Samba Absurdo, says right there. Really good. Same thing, kind of like samba. A little more traditional samba. I think Guy Amabis is on there, and if there's any information in here. This thing is so giant. I don't know if there's like an insert or whatever. Maybe. I don't know. This thing's so thick, dude. Thick as a brick. Guess not. Still in the shrink. Yeah, I keep my records in the shrink if I can. So good. I think this one you can still buy. I think this one's not sold out. It's really good. All Rodrigo Campos stuff is really good. This one is a little bit later. I don't know, 2018, maybe 19. Really, really awesome. That's Rodrigo Campos. And then here's Just Out of Masao solo album. Encarnado. This one came out in 2016, 15, I don't know. Goma Gringa. And she has a new album that's on pre-order soon. I think pre-order is coming in May. Delta Estacia Blues, which is really crazy. Like, it doesn't sound like blues at all. It's very, very hard electronic. And Kiko Danucci's on that, of course. The man, the myth, the legend. Samba Sujo. This is kind of the same vein, like samba, a little bit of edge. Really awesome. These things are a challenge. I need to put these in just MoFi sleeves because I hate putting these back in these like plastic sleeves, and the inside just regular sleeves. Just never, they're always crumbly and. I mean, I'm glad they put at least these plastic things in there. Plastic inners keeps it from scuffing, but just put it in a no-fly. This is like, oh my god, I love this album. It's like my favorite jazz album. This is another player from Paso Porto, which is this album. So we did Rodrigo Campos, Kiko Danucci, and Rodrigo. He's got a couple other solo albums that I need to grab for sure. I think this is called. This from 2018. This album's really good. Like I said, this is the guy who kind of plays sort of like with an. I would say play. The first album. I was listening to the first album before I did this, and it kind of sounds like there's like an oboe or some kind of just like. Kind of like whatever's playing now. Like this just. I don't know what, clarinet or something with traditional samba. There's not like a ton of craziness going on, but it's definitely different than like traditional samba. Yeah, what's this one called? O Disco das Horas, like the record of disc of hours. I think there's like the first song's called like hour 1, hour 2, hour 3. Really good. I don't know. Definitely not for everybody. For sure, it's like samba, but with that little bit of just kind of weirdness. Yeah. And last but not least, I'll just show this. This is Elsa Suarez. She just passed away less than a year ago, maybe. She was like, this is 2015. I don't know what the name. I don't know if it's self-titled. The Woman at the End of the World. A Mulher do Fim do Mundo. 2015. Kiko Danucci is all over this. Romulo Frois is on this. Rodrigo Campos is on this. Marcelo Cabral is on this. All the same players. That's why I'm kind of talking about Samba Sujo. All the same cats. It's kind of like jazz, you know, where they're all playing all over each other's albums. It's kind of what I feel is the movement from Samba Sujo, all from Sao Paulo, all kind of one and the same, all sort of playing on each other's records. So yeah, that is, for me, Samba Sujo is the movement from the last 10, 15 years from Brazil. I think is worth exploring. It's going to be classic, I think. When people look back on it, I don't feel like it's any love. Even in Brazil, I don't see anybody show any of these records. I think they're all fantastic. Highly recommend it. So, anyways, that is my spiel. So, cheers, everybody. Have a great Easter, and I look forward to watching everyone's videos. And see you later.